Welcome back everybody to Forza Motorsport. So we're continuing on with the Vintage Hatch Championship. So unfortunately I did do about 12 minutes of this video already, but the recording had ceased for some reason. So yeah, I have upgraded the car already. I'll quickly show you what I've done with it. So I've given it a street exhaust, race fuel system, sport oil and cooling, sport flywheel, giving it sport suspension, swing and dampers. I've changed the tyre width, so we've got less width on the front now than we did before, but we now have more width at the back. So as you can see, they're the same width now, so we won't have the handling issues that we had before. And I've also given it a race driveline. So yeah, overall the car has 200 horsepower, 200 pounds-feet of torque, and it now weighs 2,549 pounds, which is a fair decent amount there. So yeah, and there are the acceleration times and the top speed. So yeah, we can now hit 140 now. So yeah, which is pretty good. So yeah, let's get onto this track and see what happens. So I'm going to give us a little bit of a helping hand by starting out in 10th. I just think we need to try and get into at least a podium position for this race. So yeah, we're going to drop our fuel down to 21% thereabouts. So yeah, not sure why the AI don't seem to do the fuel thing or anything. It seems a bit pointless to have us having the ability to do it and the AI do not, but that's just the way it goes sometimes, I guess. And yeah, we've got a rolling start around 30 mile an hour or so by the looks of things. Yeah. Right, so let's see if we can do any better at this race than we could over the previous two. Granted, we do have more power, we have less weight, and we've got better upgrades overall. I imagine we've probably got the most power here, but that doesn't mean anything if you can't control it. On the outside. Slide top onto the Golf. Yeah, the handling on this is far better than it was last time. Nowhere near as much of the oversteer or the snap oversteer that we had before. And add on to that the extra power and the lack of weight. Yeah, we're finally seeing what this car can do. Although granted, I do feel like being the only turbocharged car here, I believe that we are. Unless any of the AI have given their cars a turbocharged upgrade, is a disadvantage in some regards, especially on a small tight track like this where, you know, a turbocharger, especially one as old as this, cannot really, you know, stretch its legs. Often feels like we're not getting the full 200 horsepower out of this car. I'm sure we're getting the full 200 pounds-feet of torque, especially out the corners, but yeah, it does not feel outside of the, you know, these kind of straight areas that we're getting the full amount of power out of this. At the end of the day, with these older turbochargers, you really have to be at the right revs, in the right gear, at the right time to get the most out of them. Still, it's hardly slow, and the handling is certainly helping our speed. But I still feel, even with the improved suspension, it's cocking its wheel every now and then, which might be fun to look at and experience, but I don't believe it's going to be the fastest way to get around a corner. These top two are being on the rather fast side of things. Dynamically, the Tirreno has the edge. It's rear-wheel drive and front-engined, which is pretty much always going to have the edge over a front-wheel drive, front-engine car, I believe. Especially one as light as that. Might well not have the same kind of power as we do, regardless of what upgrades it's been able to give it, compared to the upgrades I've given mine. But in fact, it weighs so little. Still has a decent amount of power, while dynamically having the better layout. It's just a more winning combination by the sounds of things.
3 more.
lighter Golf seems to have the better handling over me. We do have that edge in terms of power. Really not gaining on first or second. Especially since this still does have some weird handling characteristics. No idea why the rear brakes locked up before. I think we're going to have to settle for third, but at least that is a podium position which I wanted, so have succeeded in that, and it should make our overall championship standing a much more positive one. I would have certainly liked to have been higher. crazy. Bit of fatigue wearing in there. Still, if the two leaders are Terrenos, then we will at least be the best of the front-wheel drive cars. Yeah, at least we got onto the podium. Yeah, two Terrenos up front, no real surprise there. So yeah, best of the front-wheel drive cars. And that has bumped us up 4 places, so yeah, we have finally got the first place position in the championship, but only in terms of actually, you know, drawn alongside the Ford Fiesta from 1981. So yeah, that's the car to really look out for, but nonetheless, let's get on to the next race. So let's see what upgrades we can give the vehicle. See if we can upgrade it to be even better. Hopefully we can give it a tyre compound at the very least. So yeah, we're on the Watkins Glen International Speedway. Now this should hopefully be the kind of track where we excel, get the most out of the turbocharger and whatnot. It's very tempting to do that, but I know we full well need the better tyre handling, because that boosts us quite exceptionally. Even improves the acceleration slightly as well. So yeah, that's what we're going to go for. Whether or not we can give it any more power, we'll have to see. So we can go up into C class now. 210 horsepower. What else? Better brakes? Nope. Weight reduction? Nope. Guess we can improve the handling slightly further, or at least the braking and whatnot, by upgrading the whips. Yeah, that helps. Reduce some weight by doing the clutch up. Yep. And reduce the flywheel even more. Yep, that also helps acceleration. Right, I'm happy with that. So now we have even better handling, less weight again, and yeah, should all help in hopefully winning this. So yeah, let's see what happens. Right, we're going to stay in 12th place this time. I feel like we can make up those extra 2 spaces over the previous race a lot better with this circuit, because yeah, this is more open. It's certainly more speed orientated, and even though we are in the rain, it's only light rain, it's not too heavy. So yeah, it shouldn't be too much of an issue, especially since we now have more grip. So I really don't feel like we need wet tyres or anything like that, like the competition have gone for. It seems at least first place seems to have those. Granted, we have no extra power over the previous race, but like I said, I feel like this circuit will better suit this kind of car. Get through the traffic, that is. Oops. Why were you braking there? Very wet. Wetter than I thought it might have been, considering it said light rain. A lot of this might just be spray. A couple of positions there. Or 3. Very nice. Right. Be on the lookout out for a Fiesta, because remember they are drawn alongside us for points, but I do not believe there is a Fiesta up front. Looks like Tirreno is all the way, so yeah. Should only open our lead up on second place even more. Surprised the Tirrenos aren't doing better in terms of the championship overall, given what they did last race, but I can't exactly remember what they did in the first two races in the first episode, but it's not been very good. Plus I feel like rear wheel drive cars are a little trickier to drive in the rain than front wheel drive cars, especially when they are front engined, because you know, you don't have as much weight over those rear wheels as you would in a front wheel drive front engine car. See, I completely misjudged what he was doing. Did not expect it to pretty much slam on there. Again he's braking. What the hell are you doing? At least we've caught up. I guess. Got quite dark quite quickly. That's back into third place like last race. Let's see if we can improve upon that though. Pretty sure we will, given that this is a far more suitable track for this car in this setup. Especially now that we've got way better handling.
Three to go.
Much faster through that corner. We were about 60 last time, we did about 67 now. Catchy, catchy monkey, here we come. Feel the power. Well, fifth gear is pretty stupidly bad in this car. I think a transmission change might be necessary for the next race. Yeah, the AI are not particularly great for that chicane. None of the handling issues we had in the second race of the previous episode. It's all gone. My new cat Trixie is begging for attention. No, off me, don't scratch. Seemingly even faster through that corner this time round. First place is within sight. Certainly more so than the previous races. This is fifth gear that is just killing our momentum. Don't know why it's such a bad ratio on it or whatever. I'm going to have to let my cat out. They want to escape from me and my room. So I'll just quickly pause it and then I'll quickly start the race again in a second. Well, be immediately for you but not for me. I do apologise for that. but it does mean I can concentrate on this race rather than a cat trying to kill me. Can we get up to first place in one lap? Because we are about to come on to the final lap. Come on,
Finish strong.
catchy monkey. Quite as quick that time round. Oh, got off track.
Total time
Well,
penalty.
we're going to have to rewind that, because if we do just get ahead of the Tirreno on the final straight, then I do not want to be having to be burdened by that amount of penalty. I feel like we're a little bit closer than we were last time at this point. Again, this fifth gear is so bad. I didn't really know about it until we got onto this race, considering, you know, we haven't really had many massive straights to go on, so. And I hate it when the game goes quiet when you rewind. No idea why it still does that. It's not helpful at all. Right, come on, they are in at least only a couple of car lengths ahead. Use the draft. Use the draft. Less than a car length in it. Oh well, that was at least a fun race, so yeah, that is one thing, I guess, at the end of the day. So yeah, yeah, and it's still an improvement over the previous race, which again is only a bonus, and that means that yeah, we have opened up a gap of 14 points over the Fiesta. Can't remember where that came now in that race, but yeah, that does mean that we're no longer just drawn for first place, we are now comfortably in first place. So let's see what the last race, fifth and final race I think it is, in this championship brings. Where are we going to be, and will our upgrades be beneficial? So yeah, where are we? Laguna Seca, so I think we're going to have to concentrate more on handling again more than power, although I think we might well just give it a little bit more just to help it. But yeah, the transmission is something we're definitely going to have to change, because that fifth gear is absolutely woeful. Although I don't think we can do too much, but we can at least give it a sport transmission, which again lightens the car and should hopefully solve any issues it has with fifth gear. But again, I don't believe we're going to be able to get up to that kind of speed. Can't do too much, to be honest. We didn't gain all that much in the way of points, unfortunately. I like an even number, goddammit. I don't think we're gonna be able to get one. Anybody at all? Well, we could if we went for didn't go for the transmission, but swear it said we could go for something else that was only 50. Yeah. And we'll just do the valves then. Doesn't matter if we can't get a nice even number, we do at least have a decent amount of power. Right, so new transmission and 7 extra horsepower and 7 extra pounds-feet of torque. Not massive upgrades granted, but hopefully they will work enough. So let's see what Laguna Seca brings. Right, I've bumped us up to 10th place just purely because this track is quite small and narrow in a lot of places, and we've seen what that can do when, you know, trying to race on this game. We saw that with the Mid-Ohio racetrack, which, yeah, just really exacerbated the traffic problems and whatnot, so 2 less cars to deal with is only going to help. Not sure which Fiesta we're going up against in terms of points, but I guess we'll only find out. Right, come on. Right, traffic, do not be a problem. Do not be a problem. Please don't be a problem, traffic. Yes. Right, so 5th place immediately pretty much, which is only helpful. The cat is back. But yeah. Oh dear, the Fiesta trying to overtake us there, or at least stay in front. We hit their rear wing. We're into 4th, come on, get up the hill, get up the hill, get up the hill. Oh, well that, yeah, don't hit that curb sends you up into 2 wheels and you therefore have no control getting around the corner. Much better there. Oh, the Fiesta really balls that up. Well, that's on their fault. Right, we're into 3rd. Probably didn't have to scurry our way up into 10th place for the starting grid, but it certainly helped. What has also helped is the fact that we're in the dry. It means we can make the most of our tyres. This circuit isn't, you know, festooned with straights, this finish and start line straight certainly is only beneficial to us, given the amount of power that we've got. Thankfully with this car it's not just power that is on our side, but also the handling and the general lack of weight. Although again, I must stress we are far from the lightest car here. Pretty much every other car is lighter than we are. Even though we are a relatively small hatchback, we are at the end of the day an American small hot hatchback, and therefore we're always going to have a little bit more in the way of weight than its European counterparts. What's going on with the brakes there? Imagine the Fiesta behind us is the one that's in 2nd place overall, so at least try and keep ahead of those. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to get up to 2nd and 1st. Look at the power difference between us and the Fiesta. We instantly start pulling ahead. Also helps that part of this straight is uphill, and we obviously have a lot of torque, and that helps us get up the hill a lot better than it would if we had a reduction in torque, regardless of how much power we've got. think this is a circuit that definitely benefits a rear-wheel drive car a little bit more. Unlike with other small circuits that we've dealt with this car on. Just not quite able to make the most of its power. Which was obviously not the case with Watkins Glen, where we were more than able to make the most of our power, even though we had less power than we have now, just because of the kind of circuit that that is. But at least we do have this straight line bit. It's more than able to let us gird our loins. Front end is also pretty good at keeping the power into check. Obviously it helps that we've got wider tyres up front and better tyre compound, but the general chassis and whatnot is also really rather nicely set up. So although we obviously do have more power, we have about 32 extra horsepower, it's not overwhelming the car. Because at the end of the day we haven't changed the diff, which, you know, could easily start lighting up one tyre only and therefore throwing all of the power away, but it's not doing that. But dynamically, and because we're not naturally aspirated, this car is a little bit outpaced by whatever's in second and first, which I imagine again are the Torino cars. But like I said in the previous episode, I don't really consider those to be hot hatchbacks, so, you know, they've kind of bent the kind of definition of it a little bit just to try and fit in another car, because at the end of the day there aren't that many vintage cars like this on this game. There've been plenty before in previous Forza games. You know, we had the Talbot Sunbeam, which is an excellent car, and there are other vehicles they could have chosen from this period, but they just haven't put them in the game, so therefore they've had to put the Toyota in because, well, the field would be even less varied without it. Right, but at least we're on our last lap and we're still in third, so we can at least hold on to the podium position, then we should hold on to the first place position for the championship. Sure whether or not this new transmission has helped at all, but it does feel a little bit slicker and a little bit quicker maybe. We haven't been able to get it up to 5th gear really to see what it can do in comparison to the standard transmission, which was obviously not particularly good for that gear. I imagine it wasn't really set up as a gear to, you know, gain speed with. It might just be, you know, like an economy gear to make the most of what is quite a small engine, for American standards at least. Right, final corner. It's not even the Fiesta that's in 4th, so we're definitely going to gain on those. Right, let's see what the points have done for us there. Obviously we gained a fair few positions in that race. Oh, it's Dodge Shelby's actually in 1st and 2nd. That's a surprise. I'm not quite sure why or how I wasn't able to, you know, keep up with them or catch up with them, to be honest, especially since we have more PI. But yeah, regardless, that keeps us in 1st place. We're the only ones above 100 points, but the Dodge Shelby there in 2nd has gained 5 points to get into 2nd place, so that's fairly good. Yeah, surprised by how many points we've got though, considering the disastrous first 2 races. So yeah, that is overall surprising. But there we go. That's a vintage hatch championship. Overall, a fun championship, even if there's not quite the varied amount of cars that you would have liked. Because at the end of the day, there's only what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars to choose from, which isn't particularly a lot, if we're honest. But nonetheless, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.